Why these herbs work? Because of a simple thing: knowing the plants that God made. The last one is the hair food. This hair food is made from a plant from the forest of Honduras. You may have heard of the Mosquito Coast. In the Mosquito Coast lives a tribe of people known as the Waika people. I would go visit them once in a while because they do have all kind of things, knowledge with herbs. They have a lot. In fact, no one dies there by a snake bite. Not even dogs. The most poisonous snake, no way. There's this herb. It's a flower from a plant that grows like a palm. They call it batana. La flor de batana, the flower of batana. This will make your hair grow, and it will give it luster. It is just the best, magnificent. It is good. That's another product. So we have products here which doesn't occupy a bunch of shelves. You know, like when you walk in a health food store and you have 5,000 products. Take your pick. But as you take them, you still wind up sick and weak. Here, we only have few. The males, we have the T1, we have the H1 for female. That's for male, those of us who are having some problem, and it's also good because it's loaded with zinc phosphate, which goes to the prostate glands. The female, likewise, we have the H1, which is to replenish, help the body to produce its natural hormones, not an artificial hormone. So yes, brothers and sisters, we offer electric food for an electric body. And I think that we come to a close. But before we leave, I want to say thank you for your presence. And thank you so very much. But now we go into the question and answer period. Are there any questions? Yes, sir. You still need this? Yes, sir. No, wait. It's kind of a fuzzy. If what? Overactive thyroid. An overactive thyroid, could there be something for it? Well, of course, overactive or underactive. Underactive thyroid gland means that it needs to be fed, which is iodine, natural iodine. Overactive means that there is an acid condition that is causing the gland to go haywire, which depletes the body of energy. So what we do, we treat the central nerve system and the gland itself with herb that has potassium iodide, bromides, and phosphates. Yes, we do have something for that, and we have been successful 100% of the time. Yes, sir. That was the question. Next question. They work for black and white, Chinese, Arab, and Eskimo, because we are all tied to the energy of God. But what I'm saying, that the herb work for everyone. There is a mineral that is consistent with us that we have not been receiving, which is what? Iron. Yes, sir, they work for everyone. In fact, in my early days of healing, most of my patients were white people. Yes, sir. If what, sir? Yes, sir. There is a young man that is from Philadelphia, and I don't know if he's here. William Malloy, are you here? William was in Honduras just recently, and he went down there with a cane, and he had cancer of the bones, and he was treated with radiation, and he came back on his own without the walker. So yes, radiation doesn't guarantee a cure. Okay. Okay.
Just want to interrupt and make one announcement. We probably, as I indicated, probably sold out of the urban compounds. On Friday of this coming week, we will have enough supply to last for at least another month. So for those of you who don't get it today, you have to remember on the slip here, the compound will be available in Camden on Friday. And we're going to talk about that after Dr. Sebi finishes answering all the questions. One of the difficulties that Dr. Sebi has had is that different people have sold this product at different prices. The prices that you see in the list here were the suggested retail prices. Those prices after Friday will change only for two of the products, and that is the Maya and one of the two other products. We'll go over that. But we're asking that those individuals who have been selling the product see me afterwards because we want to make sure that there's some consistency. Dr. Sebi is also changing his strategy in terms of how large quantities of that is going to be released. So we want to make sure that there is consistency. And that's why Dr. Sebi is going to make those two announcements. So we'll go from this side to this side, and we'll alternate the questions.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Sebi.
Oh, after finish with the young man, yes.
I was asking that because I was wondering what would be the effects of taking that along with the
It would not interfere with the treatment. Alzheimer's, we have been successful too with that because we removed the mucus from the brain. Yes. It would be good, but they work whether you're going to diet or not. But if you stop the diet, if you go on the diet, it'd be much better, be easier. Be easier. And about Alzheimer's, I know you guys know about Mr. Brady Keys. He's the man that used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He brought his mother to me, and she was remembering most things after 3 weeks of treatment, way back yonder.
Good evening, Dr. Sebi.
Good evening.
Okay, Demar Electric, is that also good for tumors and cysts?
No, it was not designed to do that. Cysts and tumors has to be a therapy. That's what I offer. That's what I do in consultation. These products are not to cure any disease. These products are designed to revitalize the body. But to cure a pathology, I have to do a consultation with you.
Okay. And also, you mentioned some of the natural foods that we can eat.
Some of the foods?
Natural foods.
Natural foods you could eat.
Created by God.
Yes. Well, she have a list up there. They have a list up there. They will give that to you. Thank you. But another thing in answer to your question, these are foods. These are not medicine. You see, we think that food is something that you cook. No, food is something that nourishes you. And what nourishes what God made, and they're all in the form of herbs and berries and fruits. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I wanted to ask, can you hear me?
Yes, talk loud.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I was able to purchase two products. I got the Maya Electric, and I got the Maya Electric 2. Do they go good together?
Yes, they go good together. That's the way it's supposed to be taken, 1 and 2.
Okay. No, I got the Maya.
The Maya?
And the Maya Electric 2.
Okay, that's good. They work together. Right, right. Yes, sir. You take those to help to regenerate energy in the body and to remove some toxins. But it wasn't designed to cure any disease. But it would give you energy over and above what any vitamin would give you.
You have energy, but then you still need to take the one that gives you energy, or you take the one that does the other thing, really got the body.
Yes. You take the Bio 1 and 2 to cleanse to some level and to energize. But I usually put the Maya with it because the Maya gives such a great boost to the 2 because it assimilates faster because it's a liquid. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. For what? The 1 and 2, the bioelectro 1 and 2. The what? Swelling of the feet. That's different now. That's meaning that we have problem with the kidneys or retention of salt, sodium, which has to be flushed out. And I usually like for the person to go into therapy. But you could try the bioelectro 1 and 2. See how much that will do, and then you will know whether you should change. She doesn't what? That's good. Yes, I would. I don't know anything about chiropractic. Yes, ma'am.
Osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis. We are now addressing the bones, right? Joints and bones, calcium. Yes, we do.
You say bioelectrical?
Bioelectro would help. But then the salve would be good too. But then she will have to take something with calcium. That is why I recommend when there's a disease such as osteoporosis, and others, you have to take the whole treatment. Because in the treatment you get calcium, phosphorus, and all the necessary minerals, Like in the case of osteoporosis, the bones. Sure. But you could take that and see how the person would feel. It works anyway.
Inguinal hernia.
Which one?
Inguinal hernia.
I had one of them. And depending how far it is in stage, what's happening, because it means that the intestines at some point is weakened, and then it is filled with toxins, and it's very painful. It paralyzes parts of the body sometimes. Depending on the stage of it will determine whether there is a chance to do it with herbs. There is always a chance that the person abstained from eating. The body will release the toxin and strengthen those, elastic fibers. Sure. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I have two questions. One is about calories and changing the diet. A registered dietitian will tell you that the body needs at least 1,000 calories, or will go into starvation mode and the body will begin to consume vital organs and so on. How valid is that?
If it was valid, then I would be dead. Because I don't take any calories, and I don't know how they relate to the human body. The human body wants energy, electricity. In other words, the human body only receives what it is made up of already. Like if I ate A, and the body is composed of B, then this A have no place in me. There's no affinity for it to assimilate and do work. So, no, calories has no place, because I take my compounds and I eat very little, and I have more energy now at 65 than I did at 30, and I was taking all kind of stuff then that amounted to what we would consider calories.
Now, my second question has to do with dialysis. And if a person begins that, if a medical doctor is telling a person that your kidneys are suffering from kidney disease, and at some point the tests show that you need to go on dialysis, is it possible? I mean, what do you think of dialysis? And number two, could the kidney regenerate itself through the use of the herb?
If Zaja Ife brain cell regenerated and Teddy Pendergrass spinal cord regenerated and connected again, then I think that dialysis is another one of those that could be reversed. You know, like kidneys, kidney infection, kidney stones, kidney tumors. There's a Spanish program known as Univision. And a little boy, 4 years of age, had tumors in his kidneys. And I have that tape, but it's in Spanish. And this little boy, they were going to operate on him, and I don't know what they were going to do. But the little boy no longer have tumors in his kidneys. Dialysis patients, on the other hand, grown, they like to eat meat. They love to eat meat. They tell them to eat meat to replenish energy and all that stuff. And I have a problem with them. I only was successful with one. Only one. Out of maybe 50, one. And he got off the dialysis in 2 months. His name was Raghunanda. The diet is important. Then you can't drink water, and water is necessary because they talk about creatinine, they talk about potassium, they talk about fluid, they talk about all these things that the body really needs. They negate that, they deny that. Yes. That is the only man I agree with. He was the only man that I ever agreed with. There aren't any books written by anyone, whether white, black, Africans, or whoever, that I agree 100%. We have had brothers who wrote books that copied from white premise of philosophy. Look at all of them. They all have aloe vera in them. They all have burdock in them. Well, burdock is good, but they all have a bunch of herbs such as golden seal in them. And you know that if they had done research, they would not have afforded that to our people because those things are dangerous. Arnold Ehret, on the other hand, he talked about the mucusless diet. He doesn't talk about herbs and how to cure disease, but he said that if you stop eating foods that would break down the mucous membrane, mucus-making foods, that you would be healed again from any disease that you have. Just stop it. Arnold was a white man, as you know. He was a German. He made a mistake. He told the world that a black man was inherently superior to a white man. They didn't like that. He also said that when the white race stopped eating acid foods, that the body would begin to turn brown, like an Indian. Yes, he did say that. And he also said that when he tried himself, he used himself as an example. He was in good health, and he cut himself, and the wound healed in less than no time, maybe 5 or 6 days. It was closed and there was no pus. He began eating potatoes and carrots and cabbage, and when he cut himself, it turned to pus, and it took a long time to heal. This is why when you find our sisters with these sores on the side, those indolent ulcers, it takes a long time to heal, and they never heal. Arnold Ehret is the only person that I agree with 100%. Yes. I want to say something. There is a sister in this audience that has been following. We have been close for many, 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 many years. I would say like 13 or 15 probably. The sister came to us and she had cancer of the breast. And she's in your audience now, and she sells the compound. And she have done a beautiful job. Sister Maxine Salam. I would like for her to come up and say something if she's nearby. She's a beautiful sister, someone that you're going to love. Where are you? I know she have a lot to say, and what she have to say you're going to like. because when she talks, I'm inspired too. It was her advice to she told me to bring this product and show you because I never show you anything. And she was the one that recommended that. Here is the most beautiful Sister Maxine Salam.
Dr. Sebi until 6 months after I had started taking the herbs and started cleansing. Today, it is my way of life. I make a living distributing the victory products. They are my best friends. I travel with the herbs in my pocket, everywhere in my pocketbook. I take them to work, and I'm so happy when they changed over from the liquid to the capsules. At first, I wasn't so happy because, as taking the liquid, it goes directly into your blood system. It doesn't have to be broken down or digested. But actually, it was a progressive move to put the herbs in a capsule form because it's very convenient, Like Dr. Sebi says, we have been told so many untruths, so many blatant lies, such as milk is the perfect food. That is one of the biggest lies that we've been told in our life. Now we're discovering what they're telling us, that it's the fattest food, that it causes heart disease because of the cholesterol. So now you see them with 2%, 1%, 0%, all kind of many, many, many years. When I say my prayers, I often pray for him and his family for the contribution that he has made to humanity. Perhaps we can't see it on that level because we are, we are in a minority in this country, in our community. It's very difficult to convince people that they must take care of their body, that the food that we're eating is killing us, that it's it's by design that the biggest businesses coming up today are places like CVS, Rite Aid. Notice the businesses that they're building in our community. It's by design. First they bring us McDonald's about 30 years ago, and now here they are with CVS, Rite Aid, Eckerd, and all the pharmaceutical stores. You have to take heed. When you start taking these herbs, it does affect your thinking, your perception, because it's true. It's similar to going to the supermarket and seeing so many older people, so many mature people like myself and older that are hooked on Coke and Pepsi. It's a shame how many people are addicted to Coke and Pepsi, and most of them are over 35, because the younger people are, doing other things. Okay? Our taste buds have been actually perverted because of our diet of artificial food. Okay? We have to take heed, and it's wonderful that Dr. Sebi has been invited into the pulpit to give this message. It is truth. And I'm thankful. I'll always be grateful for Dr. Sebi and his contribution to humanity and for the wonderful herbs. They are excellent. The quality of these herbs are superior. I have no customers, no clients, no friends that have been disappointed with the herbs. I just pray that more people take heed and come so that I can get off of that 9-to-5 job that I have. I haven't quite made it yet, but trust me, folks, the herbs are wonderful. The herbs are the real food. So if you really want to do yourself a favor, and this is I'm going to say one more thing. When I went to Dr. Sebi one time, he told me that actually I was so uptight, like most of us are, when we desire to make the transition to a better life. We worry about, well, what do you eat? If everything is hybrid and everything is man-made, you do get in a tizzy, for lack of a better word, because you say, well, what can I eat? Sebi, as we affectionately call him, said, you don't have to eat anything. Drink the water and take the herbs. And the herbs are your food. Well, my mind just couldn't. It was a little too deep for me at that time. It was too heavy for me to comprehend. But in reality, it's the minerals in the herbs that feed your body, that give you life, that give you energy, that remove the mucus and the toxins and the pollution and the poisons. So in reality, we eat for nourishment. We've gone off on a tangent, and we're eating now for, just satisfying our taste buds and our lower desires. But food in its origin is for the nourishment of our bodies. Okay? So getting back to when Sebi told me to just take the herbs vaccine, I was so scared, of dying. Wasn't quite ready, like most of us are not. But psychologically, I was in a lot of fear, but I listened to him, and I did start just taking the herbs and just drinking the water. And this has been 11 years ago, okay? And they talk, and it's a shame. Sisters call me up. I meet sisters every week who have had mastectomies done to them. I tell them, if you're up on top of things, They're saying in the New York Times, they've been saying here in the last recent years that the mastectomy is totally unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. I knew a young lady who had breast cancer. She went on and had the other breast taken off because she was afraid she was going to, it was going to metastasize to the other breast. She died anyway because it went to her spine. So it's ridiculous to just submit to these things. You have to, compare what he tells you. If you don't believe him, do like I do. I did. I had to go all the way to California to the health food store and get a chart that the Caucasian had produced that said, yes, carrots is a starch. Granted, it might have some kind of nutritional benefit, but the evil, what he's saying, the mucus is far worse than the benefit, okay? And I could go on and on, because that's what I do, is on a part-time basis, I talk about Sebi's herbs, and I could do it all day long, okay? But I'm just telling you, I bear witness that the herbs are the best. They're of an excellent quality. No, they're not on TV. We don't have shiny ads in the magazines. It's a shame that we don't. But somehow, people underestimate the quality and the value because it is not, into big advertisement. But believe me, Sebi's herbs are the best. One of the best things that happened to me in my life. I never had any chemo and any radiation in my body. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Sebi, one of the things that people have asked as you respond to Maxine's Salam, whom I've known for many, many years, the folks who want to also talk about how they can become distributors, work on behalf of the Institute, and there is something that we did have on the response form that all of you have about the trip to Honduras. So if there are those who are here, and I know at least 2 people with whom I have spoken who had indicated that they would like to become distributors and work on behalf of the Institute, you can put that on this form when you do turn it back in to the back of the room. For all of those who are interested in becoming distributors and also working full-time for the Institute. And Dr. Sebi can explain it better than I can. He really wants sisters because he don't believe that the brothers are really that committed. So I just let him talk more about that. Dr. Sebi, if you can address that issue.
Well,
And even respond to Maxine.
about the brothers not being as committed, there are certain areas of this healing that, yes, my wife said that she would prefer the sisters, but as far as distributing the product, that's different. But doing that consultation, she said that women are more sensitive because life came out of her. She'd be able to nourish her life back easier. That's why that was done. But about the distributors, of course, you could fill out the application. Right now, we have formed an organization that is dedicated to disseminate those products. The Dembele Group. The Dembele Group has a $200 million project. The $200 million also includes the Healing Center in Honduras. The $200 million includes the compounds, formulas. It would include 2 ships, 2 boats, refrigerated to bring herbs and different things from the tropics to the United States. 10 healing centers in 10 major cities, each one costing $2 million apiece. We'll have 10 farmers producing the foods that would supply those 10 healing centers. That would ensure that our food would be organically grown. We would also have the shoe factory and the clothing factory. All that comes up to a grand total of $40 million. We still have $160 million left that we could do a whole lot with. But you see, the question would be asked, how are we going to get these $200 million? Oh, we could do it very easy. We have done it twice already. But we acquired the $200 million, we gave it away. Show you how. About 5 or 6 years ago, there was a Million Man March in Washington, D.C. Each brother spent on the average of $200 to get to D.C., hotel, bus, or whatever. 1 million brothers went there and spent $200 on the average. That's $200 million. So we went to D.C. and we tell each other, we love you. We went back home. We spent $200. In that one day, we gave away $200 million. You see how we always elect to do something against ourselves? Now, the Dembele group is saying, if we could throw away $200 to go one day, would you invest $200 in a project of the magnitude of what I just presented? After we own all these centers and all the farmers have received $1 million apiece, now we have a clothing factory and a shoe factory, we have the healing village, we have the formulas, we have an industry that the world needs. Not only you, not only us, but the world itself. $200. That's all. So those of you who want to sign up to the Dembele group, please do so, because it's a matter of urgency. This $160 million that was identified as that was over that which we're going to do initially. Do you know how many of you sisters and brothers in the neighborhood above 80 on a fixed income and have no one to care for you? Look what we have just done. We have $160 million left over. If we put $100 million in CD, we have $30 million interest. We could take $30 million every year and help those of us who cannot help themselves. Look what we'll be doing with only $200. But since I'm a brother, I could become like someone that would like to pocket the money and go south or west. The sister that designed this told me to give this information to you, and that in this city there would be, like Mr. Charles Gray, he would be in charge where you could write to, but there would be one bank in which you would send that money to, and your name. Because there's something about monies. You know, in the disease state, when we see a lot of it, we go crazy. But we want to make sure that this project is being constructed and it will be done. Because we don't have anything that we have done collectively. But here we have the opportunity. We have like the Japanese make the best cars. That's fine. We got the best medicine. We start off with an industry with the investment of how much? $200. Thank you. Next question.
I have two questions. She's been diagnosed with Addison's disease, and they told her that her adrenal glands is the
Her adrenal gland.
right is the reason why it's like that.
It sits on top of the kidneys.
Right, and also she only has 1% steroids in her body. What can
1% what?
steroids? What can she do?
Well, she have to get the same treatment I've been affording all day, all evening. The cleansing and the rebuilding of the cells, plus giving her a lot of calcium and magnesium, phosphate. She could do a lot.
Okay.
But that is a consultation.
Oh, okay.
You tell the sister at the desk in front.
I'm not done yet. I'm confused. Are you saying that potatoes and carrots and all that stuff is bad? Also, golden seal?
They were made.
They were man-made?
Yes.
But they came out the ground, like you said before.
That is exactly what I told Miss Holloman. Why do you want to reject the carrot juice and the beet juice when they come out of the ground? You see, you and I went to school. Well, I didn't go to school, but you did. And my children, most of them did. But when you come home from school, all you come with is A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3. Then when you grow to be a grown person, then they give you philosophy. But never in the curriculum they showed you life. So how would you know what life made from what man made? You have no defense.
So
You don't know.
What's the difference between burdock and...
A burdock plant has 102 minerals. A plant that man made could not have 102 minerals because God made everything complete. Man, with a laboratory, he cannot titrate those minerals. So what is the difference? What God made is electrical, and what man made, not so. You're still bewildered because they didn't teach you that. They didn't prepare you in school, but they didn't prepare us in school for that. How would you know that? How will we know that now? How will we know that a mule was made through what? Crossbreeding. A horse and a jackass. But if God wanted mules to be here, he would have made mules, right? The same as the carrot. Next question. Talking to Mike because it's Mark. Yes.
I just wanted to know what alternative, exactly back on where soil what alternative is there to the soil?
The brother is asking about protein and soy. You know, there's so many ways I could answer that question. I could begin by saying that God did not make anything with starch. I could also say that George Washington Carver made plastic using soybean. So in other words, you give me something that is nutritious from which you could derive plastics from. There is a contradiction, isn't it? Furthermore, soybean was made in England by a white man priest by the name of Mendelin. God did not make soybeans. The fourth, soybean has nitrogen, loaded with nitrogen. Isn't it a fact that when you plant a crop, you put soybean to replenish the nitrogen that the soil needs for the next crop? The answer is yes. But my human body has no place for nitrogen. It is a gas that would have killed my cells. Eat them up. Soy, the next is protein. Protein, I remember having to face a physician in Washington, D.C. You know, I'm the only herbalist that periodically I have to face the courts, the physicians, all these specialists. So there's a little girl with sickle cell anemia that was cured, and the doctor didn't want to accept it, and it was going through my dietary consideration, my dietary program. Dr. Steinberg at the pediatric hospital in Washington, D.C. said, well, Dr. Sebi, in looking at your dietary program for Achilles trout, you omitted protein. I said, yes, ma'am. Unless Dr. Sebi thinks that protein is an unnecessary food. I said, ma'am, the word protein is not an African word, and I'm an African. I don't even care about the word protein, because my ancestors came out of the jungles of Africa, and they were stronger than anybody else on the planet, and they didn't have anything that represented protein in the diet. So if anyone should be qualified to answer this question about protein, should be you. How many electrons per atom does protein contain? She said, I don't know. I said, but ma'am, if protein is a necessary food, it definitely has to have a fixed amount of electrons distinguishing protein from the other elements in the world, on the planet. For it to assimilate, it has to be electrical. And is protein electrical? Protein is dead. Next question.
Good evening. I have glaucoma, and I had surgery on right eye, and I'm scheduled for surgery next month, June 24th.
The question is glaucoma. I could go back to this lady in St. Croix. This lady, oh boy, I always remember her name. This lady came to me. She said, Dr. Sebi, I have been operated on this left eye. I'm going back to Boston because my eye is bleeding in the chamber and the retina has detached. Miss Orange. Miss Orange. Orange is the last name. I said, ma'am, would you like to try our methodology for a while and see what would happen? On the first week, this lady was all enthused, which gave her the courage to want to pursue this. We gave her the treatment with a special eye wash. You know what happened? What happened to Miss Orange happened to Mr. Teddy Pendergrass right here in Philadelphia. When I came to see Teddy, his nerve from C4 was severed. You have never heard of cell regeneration, isn't it? Because if a nerve severs, you would never think that it would go back together, right? It will go back together. You have to provide the environment in the body for it to go back together. You call that chemical affinity. Chemical affinity is an electrical attraction. Cells of the same seek each other. Miss Orange, she had her retina detached. It took me 3 months. That retina was attached and she was seeing good again. All with the cleansing, removing that acid condition that divides cells. It not only divides cells, it divides you from yourself. You want to see it? Okay, I'm going to show you. I saw that one day accidentally too because I'm still learning. I'm still seeing. I don't know everything about healing. I'm only telling you what has been accomplished by using these plants. Here is a man, when I went to visit him, there are 2 glasses of water on the table. But he's waiting for the nurse to come and give it to him. Why? Because when he reached, you know, he can't pick it up. His hand's right here, but if he ever do this, he's screaming. He better keep his fingers open. He better, because he had rheumatoid arthritis. So arthritis divides you from yourself, especially from me, even more distant. So you got to hold this, right? He couldn't do that. He had rheumatoid arthritis. So when you are all acid up, you've been divided, not only in yourself, with you and another. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I should take
The therapy, not this, the therapy itself.
The what?
The therapy.
Oh,
The
with consultation with
you see, there are 2 treatments. One is the therapeutical, this one is just to buy and go home.
Okay.
This for energy.
Now tell me about Parkinson's. Will
We
those
have
help?
Parkinson. I could think of Mr. Chandler, New York. He was my first Parkinson's disease case. He played bass. He said, Dr. Sebi, it was about 2 o'clock one evening, he came at the Britton Hall Hotel on Broadway Street in New York. He said, I'm not sick, it is my wife. I have to bathe my wife. For now, 9 years. I bathe her, I feed her, and I have to go play. And you know, as a musician, I'm 56 years of age, I don't make much money. And if this compound of yours is not going to work, I don't have $250 to give you. I told the lady who came to pick up the stuff for her mother, I said, give her a bottle a day. On the second day, Doing was doing the same thing that they thought would be forever gone. See, this is electrical. This is the only electric substance on the health market right now, this product. But you know, I want to say this, coming to this church this evening to give you this lecture, I passed these herbs. Many of you know this herb, right? Burdock. But if you take the root and boil it, don't you know that you will be energized? Don't you know if you take the flower from this plant and take the seeds that will come out in the fall, around December, November, December, you will see the seeds on the plant, take them out, and you grind them, and you make a salve, and you put it on a sore that will never heal, it will heal. Here's another one. It grows in everybody's yard. You've seen this, right? In about another 2 months, this will be brown, brown, brown. This is called yellow dot. This is burdock. And it grows all through the yards and all through the highways, and you see it. When you take the leaves, a piece of rock on the tree. When you eat these leaves, you get more energy than any, if you are not following the tail. So this is natural. When you eat this, you get energy. So if you take the root, it has an outer root. You peel it off. And the inner root, you boil it. The nerves, and it's so nice. When I was in Memphis, when I left you the last time, I went to Memphis. It's all through Memphis on the highway. I had everybody digging up the yellow dot. Sister made a big pot. So we want to OD on it. Yeah, we want to OD. After all, it's good. And I'm already 65. I want to be young again. And why shouldn't I? Oh, that's right. I want to be happy. We drank the whole pot. And after a while, I said, wow, I want to go outside. My sister said, that's the same thing I was thinking. And we went outside and we lay down, and it was so nice. It was a peace that you seldom experience. The root of the dog, please try it. And as for the sisters, you've seen this boy here, isn't it? All over the place. It's right in the yard next door. In the fields, it grows crazy. And what is this? This is called what? Red clover. Nothing better for a woman uterus than this. You make a douche with this and you drink it. You drink this and you also make it for a douche. Like if you take a good handful of it, a good lot of it, and boil some water, put it to soak, you make a douche. Endometriosis, vaginal discharge, weak muscles, whatever. Red clover. But you see, we were not shown these things in school, right? So we don't know. But it's right there for us, right in the next yard. There is life, not in the supermarket. Yes, ma'am. How's that? One thing about plants, they do not contaminate. They convert waste into good things. A natural plant. That's why a natural plant. When we talk about plants, you talk about the process of growth and life in a plant is photosynthesis, right? How does plant grow? Through the process of photosynthesis, they say, right? That's not so. That's only for unnatural plants. Natural plants are photovoltaic. They convert the sun, and they also convert the mineral from the soil. An artificial plant like comfrey and comfrey, golden seal, even peppermint can't do that. No. They are good. I don't care where they grow. Yes, ma'am. Well, that is what the lady over there had. The lady, Miss Denise. Denise had high blood pressure. And she didn't come down to be healed by me. She went down there because she was taking a lady to Honduras to be healed. And she started taking the treatment down there as a gift while she was waiting for the papers to be processed to bring the lady back. She no longer had high blood pressure. She had it for many years. Yes, we cure high blood pressure. The treatment, the therapy. Ask the lady at the desk. Yes, sir. Well, I finally finished the book, and now it's in process. It should be out the ending of this year. I'm dedicating the book to my grandmother, because what you heard from me this evening was from by my grandmother. She was the one that I would say responsible for my growth. My mother, she handed me over to my grandmother because she was young. My mother birthed me when she was 18. When she was about 20, I was 2, she gave me to my grandmother because she met another man and my father was killed. So she went on her way with this other new husband. So my grandmother was responsible for me up until now. And I have to dedicate the book to her because about books written on hybridization, cloning, cross-pollination, or cross-breeding, you have to go to a university, to the Department of what? Plant husbandry or industrial agriculture. You could also write novel, and they will send you a bunch of material. Novel, Odyssey 2001, Seeds of Tomorrow. They're trying to control seeds that produce food. What they call food, but all of it is starch. Oh, there's another thing I want to share with you guys. Please, I just remember this. Before coming to the United States, you know, there's a musician that came out of your city, Philadelphia, that all of us loved, and you guys know who it is, John Coltrane. I was dreaming that I was watching Train, but it was because I had left my satellite disc on channel 502, no, 507. 507 is jazz. If you live around the world and you have a disc anywhere you live, anywhere, and you put it on channel 507, that's jazz. So I was influenced by the music, and it was John Coltrane playing First Meditation for Quartet. And I thought I saw the man playing it, but it was the influence of the music outside the vibration, right? I guess it happened to many of us. What came true in that message of listening to John play was this, that black America, that has complained for years for being a slave to the white men in America, should get a second thought. You want to hear something? Of all the black people in the world that was subjugated to slavery, why is it that black America was the only group that were able to produce all the inventions in the United States and the world? Why? It was not the black people from the country where I came from, the Caribbean, Central America, or Africa, or Brazil. No, it was you. You know why? You should be glad that this man was responsible for enslaving us. You there, not me, because I was a victim too. I was a victim to this. The reason why black America is able to do what they have done, what you're doing still, is because Africa, Brazil, the Caribbean, Central America grows a plant they call cassava. It contains cyanide. It eats up your brain. The people in Nigeria, before they go home, they pick it up at the gas station, call it gari. They add water to it, and it is a starch mush that you eat with meat. This starch mush is so dangerous that if you give it to a hog, it would die. The milk of cassava would die, that hog would die in 2 minutes. When if a rattlesnake or a cobra bites a hog, he would wind up eating the snake. But if you drink the cassava juice, he is dead in 2 minutes. The Africans eat that for lunch and dinner. The Brazilian eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Wait, one more thing I saw. Not only that it stunned the growth of thinking that you did not get, the other one is, there is no one on the planet that believes in voodoo more than a Brazilian, African, and a Haitian. No one else believes in voodoo more than the Caribbean, along with the African, Haitian, and the Brazilian. Voodoo, hey, you see that? Yeah, man. What was that? Man, I don't know, but yeah. Then what I did informally, I decided to visit houses in Honduras and in Brazil and in Africa. What do you think of your neighbor? Oh, that woman? She's awful. I go to that woman and I ask her, what do you think of your neighbor? Oh, don't tell me about her. So everybody's suspicious, right? But neither of them could see or fathom that the very cassava that they eat 3 times a day is responsible for division, not unity, division. You didn't get that.
They do that right here.
Yeah, but wait. But the brain is not as damaged as the brain from Africa, the Caribbean, and Central America. Because if division was on the level of Africa in America, think about this. Whenever a sister likes you or you like a sister, do you have to ask her what tribe she's a member of? Go to Africa and do that one. If you're Yoruba, then Igbo better not talk to you. I'm a Yoruba, you understand? And I stand firm. I'm not going to compromise myself to an Igbo. And what about if I'm a Hausa from the north? Well, I'm a Muslim. I don't socialize with these pig-eating folks. Oh, no? But as a Muslim, you eat lamb. Yeah? Well, you're worse than him. Because that lamb has more germ than any pork. Has more fat than any pork. And if you go to the Igbo, oh no. I can't tolerate any Hausa or any Yoruba. So right there you see that three groups of people who should be loving each other for the benefit of the country can't do it. So we in America, I was married to a woman in Louisiana. I didn't ask her what tribe she was a member of. I married in Maryland. I didn't ask her what tribe she was a member of. But if you think that we are divided, you go to Africa. That is what I saw. The division that cassava brings, and that voodoo thing. When you go to Mongolia and you ask a Mongol about voodoo, he don't know what you're talking about. But you go to the Caribbean, you go to Africa, you go to Brazil. Voodoo is a dance. Cassava. Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask you about your H1 female formula. Will that help you with hot flashes?
Of course, it would help with hot flashes. We call them private rain. Private summers with rain. We got to be fanning, right?
And which formula would help you with your digestive system?
Well, the digestive system would be the Bio 1 and 2.
The which one?
The Bio 1 and 2.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Hi. In your head? I'm going to address iron, and with that I would answer the other question. I said that every black person in and out of Africa has a deficiency of iron. Why? Check our diet. Our diet doesn't have any iron in it. When I talk about iron, the first thing you're going to say, well, I eat beets. Yeah, okay. I eat spinach. That stuff is artificial. How could something artificial have iron in it? How could something artificial have energy in it? It's impossible. Only God could do that. God made the human body. God is the only person that could nourish this body, not a laboratory. Then to do that, then you say that you're God. And the deficiency of iron causes 40 different diseases. Right there, yes. All of us in here are anemic. As much energy I have, I take large doses of iron anyway, because I want to make sure that if something is happening inside, I am taking care of it. That's right. That is the base of all disease. It would drain it out. The iron would do it. But the bioelectro would do better, but the iron would do it. They don't have the more. Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask you a question. I have like low back pain, and it developed into sciatica down my leg, and into the posterior nerve on the left side, and it caused me to have a drop foot where I have to wear this brace, and I can't wear my spike heels no more. And so I was wondering, don't be looking over there.
You said that she can't wear her spike heels anymore. And this brother was looking at you like, what is she doing on spike heels anyway? Keep on, sister.
So, is there any chance of my becoming
Normal again?
right?
Nothing beats a trial but a failure, isn't it?
Huh?
Nothing beats a trial but a failure.
Right.
So in other words, if others have received benefit from these compounds, I can't see why you should not.
Okay, and one other thing. You got like hypertension and diabetes, you got the stuff back there?
No, the stuff with diabetes and hypertension and high blood pressure, you have to do a consultation with me.
So I have to do it.
And you tell the lady at the desk.
You ready to go home?
What?
You get ready to leave?
No, but no, I'm not leaving until Wednesday. I'll be doing consultation at the hotel.
Okay, one other thing. This happened to a young lady at church today. She was just sitting there, and all of a sudden she started to cough up blood
When?
at church today.
Oh, yes.
What I did was I took her into the bathroom, and I told her to gargle with salt water, which suppressed it a little bit. But what do you think I should tell her?
You could have a weak spleen, could have a ruptured tissue going on, cells. It could be the stomach, the duodenum. It could be a lot of things.
It did stop.
Yes.
But I was just wondering, I asked her, did she
Scar tissue could happen, could do that.
Did she take aspirin? Because I was afraid she might be like an upper GI bleed or something like that, but it did suppress.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening real hard. And my wife contacted cancer about in 1992 and diagnosed me with remission. And so at that time I started checking my herbs. And so today, listen to you. I didn't hear anything. Yes, remember wrong if you say I agree with about 99 to 100% of what you said today. But one thing that I didn't realize that you mentioned is about those different vegetables like carrot, garlic, and celery and so forth. I've been using that and using those actually back and forth. And she has a problem now with the cancer. She has some other problem generated from that. It seems like she had a blood clot. She just got released from the hospital a couple days ago with a blood clot.
Yeah, but that's okay. You don't have to read it out.
And it's going down low, but it hasn't gone down as true. The ankle leg is still swollen. So this product is the bio 1 and 2. If you take those two products, that have an effect on the disease.
Oh, yes, you could try that first. I would recommend that you take the complete therapy, but if you want to try the bio 1 and 2, I assure you that you will see results of it immediately too.
Okay.
You could try that.
And I'll say, what I heard, this works. If I see these type of results coming, you gotta convert here.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'm a convert.
Yes, sir.
I'm a convert to what I promote.
Right.
And I hope that I'm the best convert, because if the more I deliver myself to it, the better it is for me. If I tell you how good these things are and how good God's medicine work and I don't take it, something's wrong, isn't it? Right. But what I said yesterday to someone, that I give thanks to God to allow me such a good life since 30 to 65, which is 35 years. I went into a house in Los Angeles because they're showing this house for sale. When I opened in the bathroom this cabinet, I realized that it has been 35 years since I had a medicine cabinet. This thing was full of medicine. And everybody have those medicines. They have them in bags. They carry them around. And the body's still sick. And then we are convinced that we have to carry them for life. You know? And that's not so.
Okay, one other thing. Will this, particularly with the electric medicine that you have here, can you take that in conjunction with what's
with the doctors? Yes, you can, because there will be no flashpoint. Flashpoint means chemical reaction, which means if the body becomes a war zone. No, this is natural. This is going to assimilate.
Okay. What if she's taken from the doctor just for a couple of days, 2, 3 days?
She will see results faster with this. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Greetings, Dr. Sebi.
Greetings.
I just wanted to thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you for allowing me the privilege.
And I wanted to ask you, I've been interested in herbology for a number of years. And I find when I go to herb stores, I get information that tells me you take this herb for this ailment. But I'm interested in finding out how the herbs actually work on the systems of the body. Where could I find that kind of information?
That kind of information, if it was in a book, then not only Sebi would be doing what he's doing, right? But there are no reports that anyone has cured anyone with sickle cell anemia, blindness, AIDS, diabetes. That you will not read. We are doing that. Why? Because we had to use our common sense. The herbs that are being afforded to us are hybrid plants. 90% of them are. That's why the healers are not healing anyone. Not that he would not like to, not that he may not be dedicated, but the substance that is given to him to heal with are not working. So where do you find that information? I don't know. I just happened to arrive at it and I began to put it in a book. The book would be out this year. I didn't want to write the book either, but my mother pushed me to write the book. So the information would be in there. And how does herb work in the body? The herbs work in the body through the process of chemical affinity. Chemical affinity is an electrical transfer. They assimilate with you. They are electrical. You're electrical. We all are electrical. We need an electric substance to assimilate. That is beyond us because we were never disciplined to understand life electrically. We think that when we talk about iron, we talk about a piece of metal. No, we are talking about the electrical composition of iron. That is what the body assimilates. This information is not out there, but only in the science of biochemistry. Yes, you could go to the science of biochemistry, and you could find much information.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are training, incidentally, sisters. We are asking if there's any one of you sisters who are out of work, who would like to join the Demberley group, who would like to be trained to be counselors. We are open for it. We are open for you to join that group. because we want to have a cadre of sisters. And we want to have one center that would be supplying the sisters with the product to do the consultation. As for the brothers who want to do the multi-level marketing and all that multi-sale, we have products for you too. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sebi. In the arena that you had, that has been a lot with my eyesight and my nerve was started a lot, and my nerve was taking that off the market for us being invisible energy and my being. Are you planning in the future to bring that back?
Yes, the Nervino. Everybody's asking for the Nervino. And I thought that I was doing something good for you. So I put together the brain food. But I took some Nervino the other day, and I realized I made a mistake. I never felt so good, and I was wondering, what did I take today that is so different? I always feel good. I always feel energy. I always have the energy, but I didn't have that calmness, you know, that serenity. And I remember that it was the Nervino. In fact, I told my wife this morning when I was talking to her, we got to bring back the Nervino. So you're right. You're right. They'll be back. Mr. Charles Gray will be carrying that.
And the fruit category. Oranges are hybrids?
All oranges except one is a hybrid. Who do we have in the audience that's from the tropics or the Caribbean? Where are you from? Do you know the civil orange? That is what he should know about, but he don't know about that. But if he was living in Florida, he would know about it. Because Florida has everybody's backyard house civil orange on the tree. They have a tree of civil orange in the yard. So I walked in this yard and they had thousands of them on the lawn. I said, lady, don't you use this orange? She said, no, it's sour. I said, but that's the orange that God made. From that one orange, they made all other oranges. I would come by with my car and I would squeeze civil orange. Instead of using vinegar, use that. We even bake it in Central America, am I right? To give it for people that have colds. And take it out. That's the only natural orange, but you don't find that in America. This is why the Dembele $200 million project is to ensure that all of the cities in the United States, the major cities, would have a center where there would be nothing in the world that you need that would not be there, including that civil orange.
Tell me what products that I can eat now from that.
What?
What foods that we can eat?
Well, there's nothing natural here but some wild rice, some quinoa, some rye bread. You want to eat all the greens. They're not going to help you, but they're not going to harm you either, like broccoli and spinach, kale. All these things are hybrid, but they're not going to hurt you, but the wild rice is natural. You can eat mushroom, they're natural. And we have to acquire taste for them because we have a problem with sauteing mushroom with onions and bell pepper, and it's delicious. And in fact, today I told the people at the hotel, I said, look, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat or any garbage. Do you have mushrooms? She said, yes. I said, well, could you saute some mushrooms and some olive oil with some onions and bell pepper and send that to me? Do you have brown bread or rye bread? She said, we have rye. I said, well, send some rye bread with that and a glass of orange juice. And I was satisfied. That's what I had all day today. And that's all I needed because I'm drinking this. Yes, sir.
Dr. Sebi, also in relationship to a couple of the questions that were raised, the H1 and the T1, if you could just tell the folks a little about H1 and the T1 as well.
I did.
Okay.
I talked about the female H1 and the male T1. Sure we did. Yes, sir.
I recently got on dialysis, right? And I wonder, because I feel good, and I say to myself, I think these doctors play the game on me, you know. Because I go in there and I see so many people that's really in bad shape. I know I lost a lot of weight, but I feel good. And I was just wondering, what should I be taking?
You are on dialysis?
Yeah.
Get the iron.
Iron?
The liquid iron.
Just iron?
Iron. Just take the iron for now.
Okay.
Because what happened, we take your creatinine level test, they're going to tell you that creatinine is high, right?
Yeah.
Or that potassium may be high if I give you what you really need right now. But I could begin, and this is how I begin people on dialysis. This is going to give you energy. What this will do, they wash your blood to remove the impurities. They also wash out the minerals that makes you strong. That's why when you get off the dialysis, you're hungry.
Yeah.
You want to eat
Yeah.
because they rob you of your energy. Well, if you take about 6 tablespoons of this, you will feel that. I would have replenished the minerals. Then gradually I would begin to give you potassium phosphate to open up the kidneys so that your urine could start again and a diuretic. We have done it. We have done it before. But like I said, those of us that we treated, because they couldn't maintain that diet, it was difficult. But this one man said, I'm going to go all the way with you, and he's off the dialysis machine.
Say that again.
Because he adhered to the diet,
Oh, okay.
he went along with the diet that is most unnecessary.
Okay. All right, another question. Like veins in your leg, what do you suggest for that?
The same treatment is an intracellular stimulation. We are cutting through all the calcium buildup, all the cholesterol, all the fat, all the grease. We ream it out, cleaning it out.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Some people and I'm wondering what is because it's found to parts of my body, and that is what it was in my neck, and now it's in the base of my skull, and I shake my neck and ears. That's almost like a news or matter or something in my head, and it seems to sort of make me sort of nervous. If you tell me what the right of letters is, I can not use for that. And we have to know, but right now it's in my head.
Now, as the sister's talking to us about her condition in her head, where else does she have the condition? In her throat, that's right. In her throat. In your throat. There's a lot of mucus in the throat. When the head is obstructed, there's the throat, the esophagus. It's a mucus thing. So we have to drain the mucus from her head. Her nervousness comes because of that. And I remember when I used to be nervous, I couldn't stay still because of my nerve, and it was the mucus in my head. And I was blowing my nose for about a month when I began my own therapy. I was blowing my nose for a month. Yes.
I feel as though it should.
I know, but what you need, you have not had the proper cleansing. When you receive the proper cleansing, don't your air be clogged sometimes? Of course. The air, the eye, the throat, all that is clogged because it's up here. And now when I begin to clean it down, she's going to begin to feel bad, but only for a couple of days. And she's going to spit up a lot of stuff, blow out a lot of stuff. Just, it's going to begin to leave you. Sure, we have a remedy for that, or a food for that, a therapy for that.
What should I take? I've gotten the Bible into and the...
Well, you need the whole therapy.
I need the whole therapy.
You need that to make sure that it is treated right. But if you want to start off with the Bio 1 and 2, that's fine. You'll begin to see result too.
How do I get whole therapy?
Well, you have to put your name down on the list over there.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, here's my question.
Excuse me 1 minute. Excuse me 1 minute. We've run out of time. So after Stone Street, we have 2 people on this side. 1 else, please. We have run completely out of time. There's just 1 fellow here, and we have 2 people on this side. And I'm asking no one else to come to the front, please.
Okay, here's my question. I want to know, is there any chance for a recovery? Let's say a person that has been diagnosed with brittle diabetes, and the doctor said the pancreas is dead. Now, they're insulin dependent. Is there any chance that, you know, through herbs that they can get a recovery where they have to use insulin anymore? Where the pancreas, in other words, where the pancreas will start working again.
Mr. Fairweather from Atlanta, Georgia, went to Los Angeles with 22 years being had diabetes, with diabetes, high blood pressure, poor circulation. 7 days later, his diabetes left. The doctors told him his pancreas had stopped working. If your pancreas stopped working, in 2 minutes you're dead. What happens is that the ducts of the pancreas is obstructed. The ducts that convey the insulin to the duodenum. The duodenum is an orifice, and the duct pancreas empties its substance in the duodenum to be taken away into the small intestines, through the under the stomach to the small intestines. But they say the pancreas is dead. The pancreas died, you died. Because the pancreas not only produces insulin, it produces trypsin, which is necessary for metabolism, for energy. No. The young man needs to be de-obstructed. There is hope. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, young lady. A what problem? Bladder problem? Young ladies, I know that this happens to most of you in your very early age of 65 and 70 and 80. And you know, I just had a case in Tennessee. And this is not going to cost you a dime. And all of you who have bladder problems, poor urine retention, they even make a special diapers for us now, Retain. You want to see how good this plan is? I want you, don't pay me any money, don't come to see me. Go straight to the herb store and buy yourself some chickweed. Put that down, please. Chickweed. That's right. C-H-I-C-K. Chick, like chicken. W-E-E-D. You buy yourself some chickweed and make a tea. Not only is this good for you, it's good for me. It strengthens my prostate gland instead of me getting up 10 times a night. You understand? Chickweed, man. And in less than 2 days, well, that is different. What you need for that now is some iron or the Bioelectro 1 and 2. But the chickweed will definitely work. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The drug problem, how do we treat it? You know, I was just asked by the Mexican government to go to a city in Mexico by the name of Mexicali to give a speech to the health department. And they asked me the same question about alcoholism. And you know it worked? What do I do? We all are drug addicts. The man that takes alcohol and heroin and cocaine, he is not an addict. He is far from being an addict. You want to see an addict? You put a salad on a table and not put salt on it. That salt is going to harden your arteries and eventually kill you. So when we sweeten something, sugar, that's a chemical. So as we grow up, those of us who were susceptible to the sugar and the salt, we would give way to other stronger drugs. What I usually do with someone that is an addict, whether to alcohol or to any kind of drug, right here. When you are an alcoholic, I told the Mexican government, it's because your body has been depleted of energy, and when you take a drink, you're strong again. Hey, you feel your oats now. Because the sugar in the alcohol is going to stimulate you up. When it drops you, it drops, say it was hair. But because of the misuse of food, you're way down here. When you take alcohol, it takes you above where you should be. So now, as it begins to evaporate in you, you begin to drop. You should have dropped here, but you're going to drop further where you were. And you go up and you come down low every time. So you become dependent. Because alcohol is a stimulant. Drug is a stimulant. So what did I figure out? That if you feed the alcoholic large amount of energy, you're going to boost him up gradually. And it's going to hold him up here. Desire for alcohol cease immediately. The desire for drugs and feeling good, because this one is going to convince him that it's better, because the drugs keep him what? Nervous. Alcoholics too. Drugs too. But this one is going to calm the nervous system, and you're going to feel good for the first time in a long time. And they're going to dare go back to the drug addiction. I also use a mushroom known as the Stropharia cubensis. And I would let them eat it. And it would raise their level of energy. Besides, it reprogrammed the cells in the brain and removed the residuals of the drug from the body immediately. Yes, we do have something. All organic, all true. My definition of cancer. My definition of cancer could be one, and cancer could be entirely different. What is cancer? Not my definition. What is cancer? Cancer is when you've been eating a lot of garbage and the body has accumulated a lot of pus, and the cells begin to eat up each other, and they call it uncontrolled mitosis, or they call it cell oxidation. But cancer presents only when there's an acid state in the body. That is cancer, not my definition of it. Thank you. Can we ever what? You could overdose on ferrosulfate. It would bind you and keep you from going to the bathroom and poison your system, not iron fluoride. You could never overdose on that. The only thing you can do with this is stop taking it. You're going to have so much energy. Say, well, you know, like, what's going on here? Look, I try to OD on it. I take a bottle a day. Like, when I have hard work, like I've been traveling since I saw you last, some of you who've been here last before, you was there the last time, right? And you were sitting in the same place, I think. Well, since I left you, I've been working. I have to do carpenter work. I have to cook, have to wash my clothes, run back, see the patient, go back and paint. And I had to go to Chicago, then I came here, then I got to go back to Memphis again to see more people. I got to wash my own clothes because I'm always traveling. I got to iron. So I try to OD on this to stay high all the time. A natural high. 2? She said one of us 2. Well, of course there is help after hysterectomy, because hysterectomy only preventing you from receiving the energy from the ovaries, you know, the estrogen and the rest of the natural chemicals, but then the bulk of the energy of your life comes from your brain. And if you energize the body, it will energize you. And you energy.
Is there any restoration of sexual function after a surgical prostatectomy?
Like prostatitis or prostatectomy? Yeah, no, the removal of the prostate gland. Well, I know of many men that still function after there is an operation. Yes, I know. I know many men. And yet, I know men that with the prostate gland, they are dysfunctional. Thank you so very much. You've been so kind, so patient. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Yes, sir.
As I indicated to you before, these products are already sold to 1,000 people last time I was here. But I do want you to know that by Friday, we will have all of the products that you will need in the campus office. I also want you to know that Maxine Salam is in Williamsburg, New Jersey, and she has the products as well. She was up here. So for those of you who need the products before then, Maxine, you use the products before Friday. You can get her name and address. All of you who have not filled out the form who want to be a part of the Jeopardy group, you can also do that as well. Contributions are still requested. I know two people who wanted to talk to Dr. Sebi, who did not have time for the questions and answers. For those of you who had your consultation scheduled, they will be at the Doubletree Hotel, room 912. For those of you who had the consultation scheduled already, we'll regret that there's no more time for questions and answers. For those of you who wanted a copy of the videotape, we're asking you to wait for at least 2 weeks, because what we're attempting to do is to develop a teaching tape. The teaching tape will have menus on it, suggested recipes on it, a teaching tool for how to feed your children. A lot of people ask questions about babies when they're newborn, what type of foods they should eat, and what type of foods you should feed them. So there's a lot of other questions that we need to be addressed, and teaching tape will be developed, and will be in the process of being developed. We will contact you through the camera person here and through our office that you have on that sheet that you have picked up in the rear with the description of all the products on it. 2 of the products will change price after Friday, because in Florida, when they're producing the product, Dr. Sebi is changing the compound. He's adding more to the mire. And he's adding additional strength to the mire. He indicated that before, when he first got there, he would take 3 tablespoons in the morning and 3 tablespoons in the evening. Because of how he's formulating this now, you can basically drink it at any time, at any amount that you need. And he suggests at least 1 day if you have a serious pathology. This will change from the $20 to the $25. And the other product which will change is the salve itself. I think it has 15, will change to the 20. The consultations range from $250 right now, but because a lot of people have called up and said they ran out of the compound between the first of the month, because with the consultation, you get your compound with you for a month's supply. And even though people were taking it, because it ran out, you say it's still in your system, the pathology will determine what that price will be, but it will range between $250 to $350. So that price will remain pretty constant except for the very serious pathologies that you have, but the $250 range. We also indicated that those of you who want to go to Honduras, to take it on a thought to take a trip, and to make the no shoes like I had a chance to, and to drink the compound, and you see instant 24-hour results. We are scheduling that, and you'll know after June 1st. Also, for all of you who have signed the form and have left your names and addresses, we'll send you information on the newsletter. The newsletter will start out to be quarterly, and eventually will hopefully go monthly. And if we raise that $200 million, as Dr. Sebi says, and if we, like you did that one day, then we'll be able to have stores and shops and everything else throughout all of our neighborhoods, so we can just go shopping every day for all of our vegetable foods, and we'll be helping folks in the planet in the last 400 years. So I just want to thank you,